Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? Hope everybody's having a great day. It's Saturday morning here in Tokyo, and it is another scorcher. It is so hot out here today. Uh, so I hope everybody's having a great day. Hopefully, it's not as hot where you are as it is here. Uh, We're going to have a good lesson today. I started a little bit later than I'd like to. I was running around this morning trying to get things organized for my work. But I am here and we will have a great lesson. Today we're going to be looking at the difference between using can and might be able to. And we're going to be using conditional sentences. All right, we're going to be making conditional sentences. So just bear with me while I get everything onto the screen here for everybody. And once I do that, we can get started. So we are going to be looking at conditional sentences. And if, we've done conditional sentences in the past. So if you guys remember the conditional sentences these are if sentences. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. And I'm just going to put a message onto my YouTube site saying that I've started the lesson. So just bear with me for a second while I do that. Okay, there we go. So yes, we're going to be looking at conditional sentences. I'm going to put that onto the screen right now. So let's get that on the screen for you. All right, there we go. Conditional sentences using can versus might be able to. Now, we are making conditional sentences. These are conditional one sentences. A conditional one sentence. I want you to be careful that. Please remember that. These are conditional one sentences. That means the story that we're telling, the sentence that we're telling is going to be true. It's going to be possible. This is not a fake sentence. This is not imagination. This is not talking about the past. We're talking about facts. We're talking about something that's possible in the current situation. All right, so that's the conditional one. And I'm sorry for the loud noise. There have been a lot of emergency service vehicles going past my house this morning. It's not a good sign. It's not a good sign for a Saturday. So let's just look at some example sentences here. If it rains, we will stay home. If it rains, we will stay home. Basically this is saying it's true that, if it begins to rain, then I'm not going to go anywhere. I'm going to stay home. Now that's a fact. It's a true statement. So if it rains, I will stay home. Next, he will arrive late. And here I'm using unless, and I'm not using if, unless he hurries up. Okay. Next, we've got Peter will buy a new car if he gets his raise. Now, if you notice, if can be at the beginning of the sentence or in the middle. But today, we're not going to be using will. We're not going to be using will today. We're going to focus on using can and might be able to. So let's get this onto the screen. Let's make this screen a little bit bigger so you can see everything. All right, so we're going to be using conditionals, and let's look at can first. All right, so I've got can on the screen here. Let's see if it's on there nicely. Yes. Okay, everybody can see it, I think. So first I'll show you the pattern, how we make these sentences. So here my grammar pattern is going to be if, but also if you want to use the word when, that's possible. And then we're going to put our first action. It's going to be the condition. After that, we'll have a subject, and then we're going to use can and then a verb. Can and then a verb. All right, so let's look at our sentence down here. It says, if you visit the beach. So visit the beach. This is my condition. So if this happens, if this action happens, then you can watch dolphins. You can see dolphins. This is possible. It is possible. Okay, that means the likelihood is very high. There is a possibility. It's not 100%, but it's possible. So it's quite high. It's like 70, 80%. All right, now let's look at the next one. It says, I'm using when. When you attend the festival. When you attend the festival. So again, this condition, this action happens. You can taste international cuisines. Because I'm using when, the likelihood you can taste becomes higher. It's almost like 100%. All right, and then next, if you go hiking, you can choose a trail that suits your level. All right, so this is possible. It's a very, very strong likelihood. Right, so, you know, it's anywhere from like 70% all the way to like 99%. All right, so it's a very high possibility. So if something is very likely, then I want you to use can. Okay, we're talking about the opportunity. You have this opportunity to do something. You have the opportunity to watch dolphins. You have the opportunity to taste international cuisines. You have the opportunity, you have the chance to choose a trail that suits your level. So these are all telling you about possibilities. All right, so does that make sense? One sec, I'm just commenting here. Okay, so if you have any questions about the grammar at any time, feel free to ask me in the comments section. All right, now let's look at the other word we're using today, and that is going to be might be able to. Might be able to. Now, when we use might be able to, the likelihood, the possibility decreases. All right, so as I was saying, you know, when we're using can, we're talking about a possibility. And I would almost, you know, range that from in this, when we make conditional sentences, I'm almost going like 80 to 99%. Right? But if we're using might be able to is going to be much lower. And I would almost put that at about a 50% likelihood, about a 50% likelihood. So it's much, much lower. All right, so can is going to be much stronger, and might be able to will be much, much weaker. So if we look, the grammar pattern is the same. Okay, we're going to have if or when. We have our first condition, and then we're going to have the second part, which we include might be able to. Now, if we look at each example sentence, if you visit the beach, you might be able to see sea turtles. You might be able to. There's not a, you know, it's not a strong chance, right? We are not going to use can here because it's too strong. We don't know. There is a possibility, but it's like 50%. So in that situation, we use might be able to. Let's look at the second one. When you attend the festival, you might be able to see cooking demonstrations. All right, you might be able to see cooking demonstrations. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe you will be able to. Maybe you will not. All right, it's a possibility, but it's like 50%. If you go hiking, you might be able to see eagles. depending on the weather. Okay, so same thing. It all depends on the weather. If the weather is good, maybe you'll see eagles. But if the weather's bad, you might not be able to see eagles. So it's like 50%. All right, so can is a much stronger likelihood. Okay, might be able to is much lower. All right, just to review that again. This is not exact science. I'm giving you sort of rough estimates. This will make it easier for you to make your sentences. If you're using can, when we're talking about a possibility, we're going to look at it today. It's about 80 to 99%. If you use might be able to, we're going about 50%. So the best way to understand this is by making sentences. So that's what we'll do next. Let's look. I'm going to basically give you, some vacation or some getaway, some type of event. I'm going to give you some categories. I'll give you some details. And as we go over the categories and details, I will give you some more information that lets you make a sentence using can or might be able to. All right. So let's look at the activities first. Let's look at the activities, and I'm going to make this bigger here. All right. So we've got dolphin watching. All right. That is one activity. Another activity is surfing. Another activity is beach volleyball. Now, if we just look at these different activities, there is one activity that is, 100%. Beach volleyball. Beach volleyball is, you pretty much can do this anytime. You have sand, there's a court. The only time maybe you cannot do beach volleyball is if it's raining or if all of the courts are full. But the possibility is quite high, right? So I'm going to put this is a high possibility, right? So beach volleyball is a high possibility. Now, if we look at surfing, surfing is, it depends if there are waves. All right, I'm going to make that banner as well. Okay, so surfing, it depends on if there are waves. If there are no waves, you cannot go surfing. If there are waves, yeah, you can go surfing. So it all depends on the waves. All right, and then same thing with dolphins. If you want to see dolphins, it's not guaranteed. It's not 100%. I would say, let's say there is a, 50% likelihood that you can see dolphins. All right. Maybe with sea turtles, it's less. Maybe with sea turtles, it's more. Maybe this area is known for sea turtles. All right. I went to Hawaii a few years back, and I knew there was one beach. It was well known for sea turtles. So there was a strong likelihood that I could see the sea turtles. So just using this information, right? Let's say, surfing. I could make a sentence here. I'll put the sentence right here. And let's make if sentences or when. So I'm going to use here, when I go to the beach, I might be able to go surfing. When I go to the beach, I might be able to go surfing. It's not 100% because surfing depends on waves. All right. Now, if you look at volleyball or dolphin watching, we've got amenities. These are the things that are included at the beach. You've got a beachside cafe. You've got rental shops, right? Maybe rental shop is for bicycles or surfboard, right? Let's say you can rent surfboards here. If you want to go surfing, you can rent a board at the rental shop. All right, if you want to go surfing, you can rent a board at the rental shop. All right, so I'm going to give you a lot of information. It's your job to look at the information and try to make a sentence using might be able to and can. All right, and it's your choice, depending on what you feel is the probability. If you think it's low, then use might be able to. If you think it's high, please use can. All right, does that make sense? Okay, so let's continue. Let's go with a fresh new category, fresh new scenario where you get a chance to make sentences. All right, so here we've got a city art museum. You have a city art museum. All right, and we've got different things here. We've got the category, we've got the exhibits, modern art, ancient artifacts, temporary exhibition. And I'm going to give you some more information for this. The temporary exhibition, let's say this is French art. French art. French art is the temporary exhibition. The facilities are, there's a cafeteria, there's a gift shop, guided tours, and art workshops. And I'm going to give you some more information about the art workshop here. I'll put, depending on availability. Maybe the art workshops are all full. We don't know. All right, so I've added a little extra information to help you. Now, if I look here, we've got modern art, we've got ancient artifacts. Right now, these are, let's say, they're permanent exhibitions. So, if you go to this city art museum, you can see modern art and you can see ancient artifacts. All right, so I'll make a banner here. So if you visit the City Art Museum, you can see modern art and ancient artifacts. All right, so if you visit the City Art Museum, you can see modern art and ancient artifacts. All right, but now we've got the temporary exhibition. The temporary exhibition is different because it's temporary. We don't know how long. It's not permanent, right? So, I might say here, if you visit the City Art Museum, you might be able to see French art. All right, I'm going to put that on as a banner. If you visit the City Art Museum, you might be able to see French art. All right, if we continue, we can talk about gift shop, cafeteria. When you go to the City Art Museum, you can get souvenirs at the gift shop. All right, so when you go to the art museum, you can get souvenirs at the gift shop. All right, so when you go to the museum, you can get souvenirs at the gift shop. When you go to the museum, you can get a guided tour. Now, for the art workshop, it says depending on availability. It says depending on availability. So it's not 100%. Yeah, it might not be available. Maybe many people are attending these workshops. So I would change my sentence. I would change my verb to use might be able to. All right, so let's put a banner here. All right, I'm going to use it. I'm going to change it a little bit differently. I'll put when in the middle in this situation. You might be able to attend a workshop when you go to the museum. Right? You might be able to attend a workshop when you go to the museum. All right, so there's lots of information here, many of opportunities for you to make sentences. So let's look at the next category. Let's look at the next category, number three. Now remember also, if you've made a different sentence and you want me to check your grammar, if you want me to check if that's a proper sentence, leave your sentence in the comment section. There's plenty of opportunity for homework here. I'm going over some of the different sentences. I'm not going over all of them. So leave all of your sentences in the comment section and I will check. Also, if this is your first time watching one of my, live lessons on the replay, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up and hit the notification bell. I do a lot of live lessons, a lot of vocabulary lessons, idioms, slang. I do grammar lessons. I do speaking lessons, a lot of situational training as well. So come join me live if you get a chance. Next, we've got the national park hiking. We've got trails, easy, moderate, challenging, wildlife, deer, eagles, bears, facilities. There's a visitor center. There's a souvenir shop, activities, guided hikes, and photography workshops. All right, so for me, if I'm looking at the trails, there's easy, there's moderate, there's challenging, right? So that means for me, I think there is a hiking trail that everybody can go on. If it was only a challenging trail, beginner hikers could not go on it. But here you've got easy, you've got moderate, you've got challenging. All right, so I would make a sentence for that. So if you come to the national park, you can choose from any trail level you want. If you come to the national park, you can choose from any trail level you want. You can choose easy, you can choose moderate, you can choose challenging. Now, I'm not sure if any of you have gone hiking a lot. I'm not sure if you've been to places where, there's wildlife. I'm from Canada, so there's a lot of hiking, a lot of nature. But when you go hiking in Canada, it's not 100% that you'll see wildlife. There is a possibility. There is a chance. But I would say when you're hiking in most trails, it's not very common. If you see it, you're lucky. So I would probably give it, a lower likelihood So I probably wouldn't use can here. I probably wouldn't use can here. I would make a sentence more like, you know, when you go hiking, you might be able to see wildlife like deer, eagles, and bears. So you might be able to see wildlife like deer, eagles, and bears. Hopefully when you're hiking, you don't see a bear, because that would be quite dangerous. All right, we've got the visitor center. Right, you got the visitor center. How do we make a sentence with the visitor center? What sentence can we make for the visitor center? For me, visitor center. What's the purpose of the visitor center? Any visitor center, the purpose is usually to welcome the guest and to give the guest information. Right? We all want information. Where do we get it from? We go to the visitor center. So that's what I would say. My sentence here would revolve information. Okay, my thing would revolve information. So let's make a sentence. So that's what I would, my sentence would be this. If you need information on the national park, you can visit the visitor center. If you need information on the national park, you can visit the visitor center. All right, does that make sense? All right, photography workshops. Maybe it's dependent on availability, right? Maybe it's always available. You know, maybe it's a strong likelihood. So depending on how you feel, you would change your sentence. You would use can, or you could use might be able to. Right? And again, we can always change our sentences here. Right? Let's say, for example, if I'm talking about a photography workshop, maybe I'd make this sentence. All right, maybe I would make this sentence here. If you like taking pictures, you can attend our photography workshops. All right, it's a possibility. All right, so far, so good. All right, there's so many different sentences we could make. So I think a great thing for everybody to do, if you're watching this on the replay, then what I would do is for each category, for each situation, each scenario, make a sentence that's different than mine and leave it in the comment section for me to check. It's a great way to test your writing, your grammar, your speaking. Okay, so let's move on to the next category here. All right, and if you remember, there's so many other sentences that you could make. Next is food festival. Food festival, something that I love. I love food festivals. All right, so here for the food festival, we've got international cuisines, we've got local specialties, we've got cooking demonstrations, live music, food stalls, craft vendors, seating areas, restrooms. All right, so if we're going to make a sentence about international cuisines, right? If you make a sentence about international cuisines, maybe I would say something like, if you go to the food festival, you can eat food from all over the world. If you go to the food festival, you can eat food from all over the world. Okay, what other sentences would you make here? I'm going to put some more on the screen here shortly. If we're looking at cooking demonstrations, right? If you want a cooking demonstration, same thing. We can make sentences for this as well. Maybe I would say, if you want a hands-on experience, you can attend one of our cooking demonstrations. This one here, this sentence is more, maybe I am the food festival marketing rep. I'm the PR person. I work at the food festival, so I'm telling you, if you come, this is what you can do. So if you want a hands-on experience, you can attend one of our cooking demonstrations. All right, now seating area. Most food festivals they're really busy, so it's not always guaranteed that you can get a seat. But maybe the food festival has, they've supplied, they've organized extra seating, so maybe the possibility goes higher. So it all depends on your sentence. So I could say, if you want to get a seat, you might be able to get one if you come early, right? If you need to sit, you can sit in our seating area where we have more than enough seats for everyone, right? These are different example sentences. One was might be able to, one was can. All right, so again, if you look here, look at all the information, make a sentence, leave it in the comment section. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Let's go to the next category here. Also something that I love. I love local farmers market. Local farmers market. All right, so here we've got stalls, we've got special products, we've got facilities, we've got activities. So there's fresh produce, artisan breads, homemade jams. We've got organic vegetables, local cheeses. There's a picnic area, of course, restrooms, cooking demonstrations, and meet the farmer sessions. Right now, if we look at all this information, we can make so many different conditional sentences, if sentences, or we can make sentences with when as well. All right, so let's use when first. All right, and remember, we can always put the when or the if in the middle. Okay, for example, I'm going to say this sentence here. I'm using when in the middle. You might be able to meet a farmer when you go to the farmer's market. Right? There are meet the farmer sessions. Excuse me. So you might be able to meet a farmer. All right, there's so many sentences here. Let's talk about the stalls. Let's talk about the stalls. If you go to a farmer's market, you can eat delicious artisan breads. If you go to the farmer's market, you can eat delicious artisan breads. All right, let's go some other information here as well. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna put two more sentences here. Let's hide this one. Let's create this. All right, so if you visit the market, you can buy fresh produce and homemade jams. All right, so if you visit the market, you can buy fresh produce and homemade jams. If you're wondering what produce means vegetables and fruit. Okay. Next, I could say something like about the cheese. If you visit the market, you might be able to taste local cheese or cheeses. You might be able to taste local cheeses, right? Maybe the possibility is lower for this. All right, so there's so many different sentences you could make. Picnic areas. When you need something to eat, you can comfortably enjoy your food at the picnic area. All right, when you want something to eat, you can buy it from one of the stalls and then you can eat it at the picnic area. If you want to learn how to cook, you might be able to attend a cooking demonstration. If you want to learn how to cook, you might be able to attend a cooking demonstration. Okay, good job, good job. Let's move on to number 6. Again, lots of information here. A lot of sentences that I didn't make, so please leave any sentence that you made in the comment section. All right, we've got next historic castle tour. We got ancient artifacts, scenic views, historical exhibits. There's period reenactment for the events. There's a guided tour. There's different activities. What could we say here? Right, for me, one of the first sentences that I would just, make is, if you visit the castle, you can explore ancient artifacts and enjoy scenic views. All right, so here it's a great way to expand your vocabulary. So you can explore ancient artifacts. You can enjoy scenic views. All right, whenever we use a conditional sentence, we're forced to use a lot of verbs. All right, so this is a great lesson to improve your verb usage. All right, Maybe you have a different sentence. Again, another ambulance going by the house. I think it's too hot here in Tokyo. If you visit the castle, you might be able to see a period reenactment. If you visit the castle, you might be able to see a period reenactment. So basically, a period reenactment means they are going to choose a period of time, and then they're going to act out a scene from that period. So, for example, in America, I know they love to do like Civil War reenactments. So the Civil War in America, they will have all these actors and people, and they will, reenact. They were going to act the scene from the Civil War. So it's kind of like, when you read a history book, you're just reading words, but this is like a visual history book. All right, we've got photography as well. We've got gift shops. Gift shops, it's always high likelihood to buy things. So if you visit the gift shop, you can buy souvenirs. For a cafeteria, I'd probably use a when sentence. So when you get hungry, you can visit our famous cafeteria. Again, I'm speaking from the castle's point of view. I'm maybe the PR person for the castle. If it's just you're not working for the castle, you can say when you get hungry, you can visit the famous cafeteria. That's also possible. When you get hungry, you can visit the famous cafeteria. You can eat at the famous cafeteria. All right. So it's in this lesson, I'm making it more difficult because I'm just giving you information, but it's your job to choose the correct verbs to make a sentence. So I've got cafeteria. So when do we use a cafeteria? What situation? Well, I want to eat something. Why do I want to eat something? Because I'm hungry. All right, so we need these words to make a sentence. When you become hungry, when you get hungry, you can go to the cafeteria. All right. This is just the information. Your job is to make a sentence. All right, we're going to do probably 2 more situations, and then we'll call that a lesson because I need to go to my school as well. But remember, there are so many sentences that I didn't make. So there's plenty of opportunity, plenty of homework chance for you to make sentences. Tell me which category, which scenario you're talking about. For example, if you want to give or make a sentence on, historic castle tour, write that historic castle tour and then your sentence. Okay, so let's look at the next one. The next one here, it's a university open day. A university open day. A university open day means this is a day where people can visit the university and they can get information about that university. It's kind of like a tour. It's free for anyone to go. So usually, if you go to a university, you should be a student. Students they go there to attend classes, but this is an open day. It's for maybe prospective students. Maybe I'm in high school and I'm thinking about going to this university. So my dad and mom and I, we go and visit the university, and we visit on an open day. So lots of families, lots of future students will come. And the categories, the information we have, we've got the departments, engineering, arts, and science. We've got library tours, campus tours. You got Q&A sessions. You've got student presentations, we got refreshments, we've got an information desk. All right, what kind of sentence would you make here? For me, I think one of the first sentences I might make is this here. If you attend the open day, you can learn about various departments. You can learn about the engineering department. You can learn about the arts, sciences, another emergency services vehicle. All right, what else could you say here? Right. Maybe next for me, I want to make a sentence on the campus tour, about the campus tours. So maybe my sentence would be this. If you attend the open day, you might be able to join a campus tour. I put might be able to here because it's all depends on availability, right? Maybe you can attend. Maybe it's all full. Maybe I needed to make a reservation, months in advance, and I didn't. Right. So now the likelihood reduces. All right. What else can we say? If you want to learn more about it from a student's point of view, there's already students going there. Maybe you can make a sentence like this. If you attend the open day, you can attend Q&A sessions with students and staff. All right. If you need special information, you can go to the information desk. If you become thirsty, you might be able to get some refreshments. All right, so many, many different sentences you can make. All right, let's do one more category, and then let's call it a day. Remember, lots of chances for homework. Number 8, local art fair. Local art fair. All right, so this is kind of like a festival, an art festival, but it's a local one for local artists. So we've got local painters, sculptors, photographers. We've got different types of artwork. We've got the facilities will be food trucks, seating area. And then what events do they have? They have an art workshop. They've got live art demonstrations. For me, I love demonstrations. So that's a sentence I'll probably make first. If you visit the art fair, you might be able to watch live art demonstrations. Okay, so a demonstration, we need the verb watch. We need the verb watch. You watch an art demonstration. So what's the benefit of a local art fair? Well, I think one of the benefits of a local art fair is, if you visit the fair, you can see artworks from local artists. These are people in your community. So that's what you can see. Workshops, right? There's workshops here. But again, workshops, it all depends on availability. Did you make a reservation? Are you going and hoping that it's available? Well, that changes my grammar. If you visit the fair, you might be able to participate in art workshops, because it all depends on if the workshops are full or not. And let's do one more sentence here. And I'm going to do it with using when. When you get hungry, you can choose from many food trucks. When you get hungry, you can choose from many food trucks. All right, so here I'm using when. Again, I'm using can because it's a high possibility. There's always food trucks there. It's not like 50%. Okay, so just to review, whenever you're using can, the possibility is quite high. And it's going to be like in mathematical terms, rough estimate is like 80 to 99%. Excuse me. And then might be able to is going to be lower. It's like 50% possibility. All right. So again, this is not exact. This is not math. It's not black and white. It's not ones and zeros. So just use this as a rough guide. All right. And then make sure as well, we're using present tense here because this is conditional one sentences. This means it's a fact. It's true statements. Right? So we're always going to use present tense. We don't need to use past tense. Right? And so there are many chances here. There was a lot of information for you to try making sentences. If you want extra, extra help, if you want extra study material, this is the lesson for you. So make sure you leave any sentences, any homework that you want to do, leave it in the comment section and I will check it. All right. So today, again, we're looking more at grammar today, can versus might be able to with conditional sentences. Yeah, if you have any questions, again, you know what to do. If you're new to the channel, if you liked learning a little bit about grammar, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Give me a thumbs up and hit that notification bell. I'll be going live again next week on Monday night. I will be doing a live lesson, so I'll see you all then. All right, guys, thanks for joining. I hope you guys enjoyed the lesson. I hope you learned something, and have a great weekend. See ya.